everyone, and welcome to MeowMix, the Carolina Panthers podcast. My name is Steven,
My name is Jerry.
and we are excited tonight because the Panthers have a brand new franchise quarterback. Bryce Young has been selected
Bryce
number one by the
Young.
Carolina Panthers. Jerry, just we kind of knew this was coming, right? I mean, over the last few weeks, it's become more and more clear that Bryce Young was going to be the pick. But to
Yes.
hear his name called, I just a wave of excitement.
Wave of excitement, hopefulness. Like, ever since we moved up to number one, you and I have always said there's 1A and 1B. And
Yeah.
then towards the end, we started looking, we started getting some more tests out and stuff like that. And we all kind of leaned towards Bryce Young. I mean, granted, it was also the Panthers were leaning that, but I'm so glad it happened. I'm glad that we went ahead. We got the quarterback that they really wanted. That's where we're sitting at now. We're sitting with
Yeah.
the coaches picked quarterback, and a quarterback who's has all the accolades that we could hope for, just not this height.
Yeah, well, that's the one weakness, right? Is 5'10" and a half or 5'10" and a quarter, 190 pounds or so. But when you look at the strengths,
Mm-hmm.
accuracy and ball placement, football IQ off the charts, processing ability off the charts, poise, a leader, mechanics are exactly what you'd want. He can improvise. Like, he's got everything. And they mentioned it on the broadcast. Like, if this dude was 3 inches taller,
There would be no
he'd have
question.
been a Trevor Lawrence type generational quarterback, though, that he'd have been mentioned in that same breath.
The Bears probably wouldn't have traded up
Probably not. They
or
probably would
traded
have
out.
traded Justin Fields.
Yeah. I Here's my thing is one thing I was listening to recently is if you look at all the quarterbacks that have been the shortest,
Hmm.
they've all succeeded.
Yeah.
Russell Wilson's, the Drew Brees, the Frank Tarkenton. Like, I know Frank Tarkenton's different completely era, but I'm
Doug
just saying,
Flutie. I
like,
mean, Doug Flutie had success in the
exactly.
NFL.
And those were like the majority of the top five shortest quarterbacks of all time in the NFL. They've all had success. I mean,
There just haven't been a lot.
yeah,
That's the whole thing. But you have Hall of Famers that are the same height or barely taller than Bryce Young. Now his frame is small, right?
that is a worry.
That's kind of the difference between him and those other guys. But I feel like coming out of college, his NFL readiness is at least as high, if not higher, than all
I,
those guys that we just mentioned.
I'm saying it right now. We're hoping for an NFC South division this year.
Yeah.
I think he's ready. I think we're not going to be sitting there waiting on him to grow. I think you could put him into this offense. Bryce's mind and intelligence, quarterback intelligence, is second to none coming out of college, I think. So I think he can
Yeah.
really go ahead and step in onto the field right away. Uh, he knows how to find passing lanes. He knows how to read defenses. He goes through progressions. And unfortunately, with this wide receiver core, he's probably going to have to. So, I mean, we'll see how the draft goes
We'll
by,
see. Yeah.
but so
Yeah. I mean, I agree. Like he's obviously going to be a day one starter, I believe. I don't think that they're going to put Andy Dalton out there unless there's something unforeseen happens, which we pray doesn't happen. But it's they drafted Bryce Young to play football this year for the Carolina Panthers, and I expect that to happen. Just real quick, let's kind of recap some of his stats and everything. 2021 in Alabama, 66.9% completion percentage, 4,872 yards, 47 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. 2021, he won the Heisman. He won the Maxwell Award. He won the Davey O'Brien Award. He won the Manning Award. AP College Football Player of the Year. Sporting News College Football Player of the Year. Consensus All-American. SEC Offensive Player of the Year. SEC Championship Game MVP. First Team All-SEC. 2022, 64.5% completion percentage, 3,328 yards, 32 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. Second Team All-SEC in 2022. I think a Super Sugar Bowl MVP in 2022. just as decorated a college football player as you'll ever find. I couldn't be more excited. I like this is the number one player in this draft. We got him. We got our QB1 maybe for the next 15 years, Jerry.
You know what? You're exactly right. I kept my daughter up, my 3-year-old daughter, even though she's not going to remember any of this. She's going to be remembering staying up late and bouncing on the trampoline when mom and dad were excited. But just because I feel like this is going to be the first player she's probably going to remember in the, for the Carolina Panthers, when she turns 4 or 5, she starts remembering some of these things and maybe go to a game. Bryce Young's going to be her quarterback. Bryce Young is going to be that guy. And I hope, and I think he can become the Super Bowl quarterback, the, perennial MVP. Obviously, that's the hope. I mean, I'm not writing it in stone or anything,
But he has that upside, right? That's why you draft him. But you're right. I mean, I didn't really think about that. But, I've got a 6-year-old and a 3-year-old. This could be like the player that they grow up.
Oh, yeah.
Loving and having jerseys and, this is the guy that they're going to tell their kids about one day. Like that's really exciting to think about and a little humbling, honestly, like a little, like, it's interesting.
Oh no, my wife doesn't know this, but we're getting a 3-pack of Bryce Young jerseys going to be shipped out as soon as the Chinese knockoffs start coming out with them for me, her, and our daughter. Yeah. I've already planned that. Happy Mother's Day. If she's listening, I don't think she will, but
Happy Mother's Day. Here's your $15 Chinese knockoff.
Hey, they're like 25.
Okay. Well, let's talk a little bit about what we expect from him in year one. What would make you happy? Obviously not saying like Super Bowl MVP, right? Realistically, what are you looking for in year one that's going to make you say we made the right pick?
I hope he takes leadership of this team. I hope to see promise. I think he could be a Drew Brees-esque style of quarterback right away. I mean, obviously not to Drew Brees' status, but
sure.
Yeah. I don't want people.
He's not gonna be a Hall of Famer year one.
Yeah, but right? I'm hoping that he's accurate. He can process and make the right reads. I don't expect a lot of deep passes right away. His arm is good. It's not great, but it's an NFL arm.
It can make all the throws.
Yes.
He can throw the ball 60 yards in the air. You don't need much more than that.
I need to see I want to see some elusive. I want to win games. I think he can. I think this team can win games with this defense, with this offensive line. I think the wide receiving core does need help, and I'm hoping we do address that in the draft. But, what do I want out of him? I want to see a quarterback that shows a lot of promise. And I think I could see that from him.
For me, I think it starts, assuming he starts week 1, I want to see 17 games out of him. I want to see him start the year healthy. I want to see him end the year healthy. And I'd ideally like to see him be healthy in between, right? I want to see him end the year better than he begins the year because there will be growing pains.
Yes.
And, like you, I want to see him do some of those things that he did in college to win games in the NFL. I want to see it translate, right? I don't expect 47 touchdowns and 7 interceptions week 1 or year 1, right?
No.
But give me that same feeling, right? Give me 25 touchdowns and 8 interceptions. Give me something that feels like, yes, this is the guy, year 2 is going to be incredible.
Yeah, I don't want to sound mean, but when Sam Darnold was here, I remember watching a game specifically where he got so flustered where a wide open receiver, he overthrew a wide open receiver and threw it straight to a Washington football player. And it was just like, what are you doing? And I'm hoping not to see that or see him make the same mistake multiple times. I'm hoping to see him, hey, I made a mistake. It's going to happen. Shrug it off and move on.
Yeah, honestly, even during the Cam years, that was an issue, right? sometimes would miss throws, would just throw it to the wrong place. I mean, every quarterback in the league has had that, but it feels like for us, we've seen that a lot. Even Jake Delhomme, right? Going back that far.
Oh yeah.
Bryce Young he's going to be like someone we've never had before. Just his ability to find the guy and to
Mm-hmm.
get the ball to him, I think will end up being better than anyone we've had at that skill, right?
Yeah. Okay, quick thing. You just said that. So with Jake Delhomme, I always think of fiery leader. He never
Mm-hmm.
had the best tools. I mean, just
Mm-hmm.
granted, Moose and Smitty were great wide receivers where he could just chuck it down and they would go get it. But he never had a. And with Cam, physical freak comes to mind. I'm
Yeah.
wondering if Bryce Young is going to be like that cerebral assassin, like the guy that can outthink, can quickly concoct a plan on the fly to make a play, and I'm hoping that happens.
I'm thinking that that's what he is. I mean, when you're that height and
Mm-hmm.
you're that frame, you have to develop those other skills, right? It's like, when you're a really good looking man or woman, sometimes you don't develop that personality. You
No,
know, when you're a short quarterback, you have to develop those other skills. And it seems like he has developed them to the highest level, at least that you can in college. I would expect them to get better in the NFL even now. But yeah, I think that's what we're going to see. We're going to see that, him just reading the field, finding the open guy and getting the ball to him. And that's going to be really nice to see, especially after over the last 5 years of what we've dealt with.
yeah, I mean, since Cam's left, I mean, oh,
Yeah.
little bit of hope and right back down right after the first quarter of the season. So,
Yeah. It's
yeah,
really, I mean, honestly, this is the first quarterback that we've gotten that I feel really, really good about. Like Sam Darnold was like, maybe it works out. We hope it works out, but you know,
we
Teddy
convinced
Bridgewater
ourselves
was
of
like
Teddy Bridgewater, and
but even then, like we knew Teddy was probably a bridge, right?
yeah,
Sam, like we were hoping, right?
I tried to turn my head around.
Yeah. Baker, we were hoping. With Bryce, like I feel like number one, I feel like he's ours, right? We're not getting him from another team.
No,
This is our baby. We're bringing him home from the hospital, right?
that's a great analogy, but yes,
he, I don't think he still has to ride in a car seat. Maybe he does. I don't know, but that's the last one. That's the last one.
oh, that won't be the last one. But either way, this is my thought too: is the Panthers have done everything right to surround Bryce Young
Yeah.
to succeed. Look at the coaching staff: Frank Reich. I mean, quarterback guy. Former quarterback, coached a lot of good quarterbacks in his time. Rec Caldwell, quarterback guy. Josh McCown, first time quarterbacks coach, been in the league forever and a day. I think, he met Joe Montana his rookie season or something. That's a sarcasm. I don't think he did. But seriously, Josh McCown's been in the league for a long time. He's been in a lot of offenses. I mean, you just look at these coaches that they start. The offensive coordinator, Thomas Brown. I mean,
Thomas
so
Brown
many
coming from the
Sean McVay tree.
yeah. I mean, it is honestly, and offensive line, like not even a coach's, like offensive line is in good shape, right?
Yeah. Bringing back
They
James Campen to help them improve to continue to protect him.
right. They signed Hayden Hurst as kind of your safety valve, tight end, possession guy.
Mm-hmm.
Adam Thielen, great hands, possession guy, amazing route runner. DJ Shark, you're getting your speed. And we still have Marshall, who we're hoping grows into what we drafted him to be, right?
And Chenault, another tool.
Chenault, if he needs to throw a screen pass, Chenault is there. You've got Miles Sanders, right, who can catch the ball out of the backfield and is going to give you that run game as well. This is a good team. There are good pieces on this team. Now, like we've talked about, there are things that need to be added. They could upgrade another wide receiver, but really, even right now, I feel pretty good about the offense.
Yeah, I do too. I wasn't joking when I said NFC South division is what I'm really hoping for. I'm
Yeah.
not joking. Playoffs.
Yeah. Playoffs.
I mean, I am not. I know I'm a homer. I don't.
What?
I don't consider myself not. I understand. I always look at this
No.
team with
Today's the day. Today's the day to have the hopes and dreams.
well,
To be
yes, besides,
excited
but I've
about.
heard national pundits say the same thing that this team is in a weak division. I don't, they have a chance. I think
Yeah.
with Andy Dalton starting, I think this team would have had a chance. But I think with Bryce Young becoming an X factor, the type of guy that can will his, we saw it with Cam Newton a few times where
Hmm.
it was
Oh, we saw
close,
it with Cam Newton many times.
where you're just like, all right, Cam's gonna come through with us, especially
Yeah.
I think Bryce can be that guy. He's been there. In college.
Yeah.
I'm excited, guys.
No, and you should be. Like tonight's the night where, regardless of who you really wanted to be the quarterback, and I'm not talking about you specifically, just Panthers fans in general, whether you wanted it to be AR, whether you wanted it to be CJ Stroud, we drafted Bryce Young. He is now a Carolina Panther.
Mm-hmm.
He is now ours, right?
Mm-hmm.
That we don't need to talk shit about him anymore. We don't need to try to convince, whoever you're trying to convince that he's not the guy. Tonight's not the night to say, well, Matt Corral's going to be starting for 16 games. No, that's not. Tonight's not that night. Tonight is we support Bryce Young. We support the Panthers. You can disagree, but
He's on the team.
I feel like real fans, you should support this guy. Have hope. Have faith.
So
Now's
funny.
the time.
So funny thing is, Sylvia goes after he was drafted and we were cheering and stuff. She goes, "Wait, he's from Alabama? You hate Alabama." First of all, I don't hate Alabama. I don't hate their players. I hate Nick Saban. But I was like, I could cheer all against Alabama, but now he's in a Carolina Panthers uniform. I'm cheering him on.
Yeah, you're not rooting for Alabama. You're rooting for Bryce Young.
Yeah. Exactly.
So yeah, I would just ask all the Panthers fans, even if Bryce wasn't your number one, and there's a lot of us out there whose Bryce was not our number one, especially when we started this process.
Bijan Robinson to Atlanta Falcons, by the way.
No,
pick just came in.
That was one. That was the main one I didn't want to happen.
Anthony Richardson was still out there too, so that was kind of
no. Anthony Richardson got traded, or he got drafted by Indy.
Oh, then Will Levis is the one out there. I would have been fine with if they took him.
Would have been fine with that too, yeah. Although I think Levis or AR, one of those guys is gonna probably be good, but
I think AR.
Bijan.
Yeah.
I don't like that. Not with Arthur Smith as that coach too.
Yeah, the only good thing is they're gonna probably have Desmond Ridder as their quarterback unless they go up and get Hendon Hooker.
Oh God. I'd actually be okay with that. I don't think Hendon Hooker's gonna be good, but yeah, okay. Well, that sucks. You really brought me down there, Jerry.
So and people watching this are gonna be like, yeah, we know that.
Oh well. All right. So, any other thoughts?
I'm not gonna be shocked if the Panthers trade back up. I keep hearing these rumors about if there's an edge or a wide receiver they really like, because I hear that they really like Enigma, JSN from Ohio State wide receiver, and I've also heard that they really like an edge player too. If they fall, don't be surprised if they try to move up. I agree. I don't know if that's the right choice, especially because you've already gave away next year's first, so...
Like, it would depend, right? Like, if they're trading up to the late 20s and they only have to give up, next year's third or fourth or something, sure. I just don't want to have to give up, like, another high pick or a player, right? Like, I don't want to have to give up Jeremy Chin or something to move back into the first round. So
I want to see Jeremy Chin be utilized correctly. That's my big wish.
Yeah. Oh, I think you're going to get it. Yeah, I'd be surprised if they traded it back into the first round, but if they do, it means that they're getting somebody that's going to help the team immediately. So I'm perfectly fine with it.
Yeah, this is what I'm hearing. I can't say or rumor wise. And another
Yeah,
thing is, we heard a rumor that we didn't mention on here that the Panthers have a potential to host a 2026 draft. I think you and I
I'm
heard
so
this about
mad.
a
I'm
month
so
ago.
mad that we didn't.
I
We should have
almost
said something.
did, but supposedly it was down between Carolina and Green Bay,
Yeah,
surprisingly. Honestly, when I heard Green Bay, though, I was just like, maybe not.
yeah. We'll see, but yeah, that news did come out today. That the Panthers are in Kansas City. A contingent of the Panthers in Kansas City, basically just watching how the draft process unfolds, looking at the infrastructure, all that stuff, and in hopes that maybe we can pull a draft here soon. So,
Yeah.
which would be amazing. I would love that. I would definitely go, and that would be a lot of fun. So. All
Yeah.
right, Jerry. Well, barring a trade back into the first round, I think we're done for the evening. We will definitely be back tomorrow to talk second and third round picks. That third round pick, by the way, that's gonna be a late night.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's gonna be a late night. At least it's a Friday night, right?
Sure. Yeah. At least it's a Friday night.
All right. Well, I think that's gonna do it.
All right, we want to thank everyone for listening. If you like the show, please let your friends know. Please follow us on Twitter at MeowMix Podcast. If you have any questions or comments, you can email us at mailbag@meowmixpodcast.com. If you leave us a 5-star review with a comment on Apple Podcasts, we'll read it on the show. Woo! Hope is back, baby.
Hope is back, and we'll be back to talk the rest of the draft over the next couple of days. Until then, everybody stay safe out there and keep pounding.